Hello, everyone. We are Andrea Pezzi, orthopedics and traumatology resident from Milan.
And my name is Gisberto Evangelisti. I am a spine surgeon from Bologna, Italy. We are members of the new AOSpine Youth Club. Welcome to the Expert Insight series, where we interview worldwide expert spine surgeons.
So in this interview, we are honored to be joined by Dr. Stefano Boriani, who is currently working as a spine surgeon at G-Spine 4 division at Istituto Ortopedico Galeazzi in Milan, and is also former chief of the oncological and degenerative spine surgery at Istituto Ortopedico Rizzoli in Bologna, and is also member of the AOSpine Knowledge Forum Tumors Advisory Board.
Dr. Boriani stands as a prominent figure, widely recognized as one of the pioneers in modern spine oncology surgery. His profound impact on the field is evident through a remarkable portfolio of hundreds of publications. Notable among his myriad of scientific achievements is the WBB surgical system, which continues to be acknowledged as the standard for planning oncologic resections of the spine. Additionally, Dr. Boriani is a co-author of the SIN score and has played a pivotal role in the developing of a comprehensive flowchart for the treatment of spinal metastases. His contributions have significantly shaped the landscape of spine oncology surgery, making him a leading authority in the field.
So, good morning, Dr. Boriani. Thank you, first of all, for accepting our invitation. How are you today?
Fine. I'm very happy and honored to have been invited by you. I'm really very happy of this. A little bit doubtful about my position in this group of people that you want to interview, but I'm quite happy to share with you my experience if this is the topic.
Thank you very much. So let's start our interview.
Before beginning, could you tell us your full name, specialty, and current position?
Well, my name is Stefano Boriani. I started as an orthopedic surgeon, indeed, but soon I was working in the department of bone oncology, and this remained for all my life my major activity. And now I'm working with a wonderful group of young people, mostly involved in degenerative spine in the reconstruction, and I've not stopped working on tumors. I try to share with younger people my experience, and I try to push young people to work on tumors, which is a very, very interesting field.
As you are doing also today.
Yes, I try. And I have still a small position at the University of Bologna. It's not, but also this is a very interesting experience to try to develop new activities in the field of bone tumors and the spine.
Thank you. So could you share a bit about your roots and what's your hometown?
Well, my hometown is Bologna. I'm just speaking over the roof of this city, and you know that Bologna is an old university town. I was born here, so I cannot speak other than well about my town. I like so much, so I always lived here, and I go on my studies here. I reached the graduation, and I worked at the Rizzoli Institute for more than 40 years after spending 5 to 6 years before the graduation. So I always working in the city. And I think the University of Bologna is one of the oldest in the world. And the Rizzoli Institute is a reference center for the treatment of orthopedic problems, and namely about bone tumors. This is the reason why we had such a big number of cases and collect a good experience. Since the beginning of the previous century, bone tumors for many years were referred only at Rizzoli Institute.
So you trained, your career was, your academic career was all in Bologna. So you trained in Bologna and your residency was there, Italy?
Yeah. Yes, indeed, at the Rhetoric Institute, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but could you share how you started in spine surgery and why did you choose this field? And also, what do you think are the pros and also the cons of becoming a spine surgeon?
Well, indeed, it's very funny. As I told before, I was working at the earliest year of my career in the university department of Rizzoli Institute, and this department was mainly dedicated to bone tumors, but always also we had traumatology. And at that time, I was one of the younger. And so, as often happen, was the one who had to take charge of a trauma patient, and was working on nailing. Lock nailing at the time was something extremely new, and was like experimental. And I just was looking at bone tumor surgery. I didn't do anything at the time. And but later on, our mentor, Professor Campanacci, was a very famous pathologist who later on became an orthopedic surgeon, decided to divide bone tumor pathology among the young people, the younger assistant. And so, as I was the one dedicated to traumatology, I had just a small part at the end. So he called me in his office and he told me, well, you should work about spine tumor. So I was not so happy at all. While my colleagues were working on joint replacement after tumor, on grafting of a new kind of prosthesis, so something really very, very interesting and already expanded. And so I had indeed to work on spine tumor, and I had two big concerns. First of all, that at the time surgery of spine tumor was just curettage, or maybe some kind of fixation, which today is considered something like a museum system. And the second point, that I was a longer bone traumatology, so I had some unclear idea where the spine was. And so I had to work, as when the mentor say, you must do this. And so I started to go around in the world to see and to try to study the spine, to understand which was the golden standard at the time. So it takes me some years of understanding or spending time to work on, first to understand the anatomy and the surgical anatomy of the spine, later on to understand how the tumors of the spine behave and which were the best way to treat it. The final option was try to apply to the spine the same criteria that we were using in the limbs with excellent result. That at the time, the combination of chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery, the rate of amputation went down from 80–90% to 5%. And the survival of patients with osteosarcoma raised up from 10% at 5 years till 70% to 5 years. So there was really a revolution in the time of the oncology of bone tumor. So try to apply to the spine the same criteria was really difficult, as applying to the spine and block resection was something at the time to be considered really very hard, and nobody in the world was doing that, unless some cases by Steiner, who was a Swedish surgeon, and maybe Rockamil was starting doing that, but nobody else in the world was doing.
And thinking about your professional journey, who inspired you the most to become the surgeon you are now, and why? Could be also not a colleague or a mentor, but also a person that inspired you to become who you are now.
Well, I think that the major inspiration was Professor Campanacci. Was a great mentor, and not only for surgery, but also for how to approach to the disease, how to understand how to combine pathology with the clinical, with the radiology, and take the decision, taking all together all this data. So I think it was really somebody who really was very, very helpful to me. Then there are some other figures and not so well known who were helping me from the human point of view, to be stronger in front of such a very difficult surgery and a difficult relationship with the people with these problems.
So, taking into account that you have worked in a different setting, do you think that the health system features like public versus private can influence the work of a spine surgeon?
Well, I must say that I am I'm strong supporting a public system, and I think that all the people should have the same right to be treated in the same way, from the most rich to the homeless. Should not be refused difficult and complex and expensive surgery if a patient is not wealthy. So I'm strongly supporting a system which is fully available for everybody. The problem is that from a financial point of view, this is difficult to be sustainable in any condition, in any financial. So in a perfect ideal world, I think that everybody should contribute according to the money that they receive, but I understand that this is really very, very idealistic. I am strongly concerned about the private connection, as sometimes some decisions are a little bit influenced mostly by the cost of the operation rather than by the possibility to make it available to everybody. So this is a strong risk that should be avoided. As a human, people should not have the temptation to decide according to private interest.
That's true. And every professional, every surgeon has that one memorable case. Could you share a bit about yours and the lessons you learned from the case?
You know, there are so many, but
so yes,
maybe in some case there are two opposite situations. There is a situation where you do too much and the patient suffer from the complication that is exposed, and maybe one cannot do enough. And so these are the two different extremity of the decision, and every doctor should be balance the advance, the good result, the good possibility versus the risk that is exposing the patient, and try to understand which are the expectations of the patient and which is his attitude toward life. Maybe a patient wants to be very active and should be treated according to his or her decision in this perspective. So I think that this is really the most difficult point in our profession, to try to understand the patient expectation and try to share with the patient what we really can do. So sometimes we cannot do exactly what the patient is expecting, and this can create a very difficult and problematic misunderstanding.
Yeah. So, are you a current member of the advisor board of the AOSpine Knowledge Forum of Tumors? And for you, is it important for a spine surgeon to be a part of an academic community like AOSpine? And moreover, in which way AOSpine influenced your career?
I love AOSpine, and I was a member of AOSpine. I don't say since the beginning of the foundation, but a few years later. And which difference between AOSpine and the other scientific societies? Really, in AOSpine, everybody is quite free of expose the ideas. And there are, notwithstanding so many polemics, but AOSpine was never connected really to an industry, or at least there was not big influence by an industry. So every time that I presented cases or talks in AOSpine meeting, I always presented the system that were not included in the one of the sponsorship of the time. So this is a very important point. The other point is that AOSpine collect surgeons from all over the world. So you have the possibility to see the different experiences, to see the same cases from different perspectives. I think that is really, I like so much this great group. It's a part of AOSpine. I was also working in AO trauma before, and the way, the perspective is the same. So try to share the experience, try to be simple, try to start with the beginning, and step by step arrive to the top. I think that AOSpine is doing till now a great job, and I think that really is really helpful. And I strongly suggest to be part of AOSpine to all the young people, and take experience in this from this. It's very important.
So you are a worldwide recognized research and educational leader in spine surgery. To what extent is it important for a spine surgeon to do research and teaching?
Well, this is another point I wanted to say before that AOSpine is influencing the surgeon to grow while teaching. So every time that I try to teach something, I understand something more. And this is something that AOSpine is pushing since the beginning. So teaching is a good way to learn. And this is really very, very important. So teaching is very important, as I think that we must immediately share everything that we achieve in our professional life. This is, nobody should keep for himself or herself what is understood. And teaching is a way to share, to discuss, and to improve. It's really very, very important. Obviously, research is extremely important, as we must be open-minded to solutions that we even do not consider the day before. And I think that we should always criticize ourselves and try to find a new solution. And it's very important that it must exist the basic research, where the researcher has nothing in mind rather than basic and simple and pure research. And then translational research is very important. So transfer the result of basic and simple pure research to the activity. And finally, the clinical research is what we can do more as a surgeon. It means to understand the outcome of our decisions, and maybe to improve the technique that we are using, try to be self-criticist as possible.
So, what aspect of spine surgery do you believe will remain timeless? Moreover, with the advancement in the oncological treatments such as chemotherapy and the radiation therapy, do you foresee a scenario where spine surgeon might become obsolete?
Yes, I think so. I think that day by day we are losing a little bit of our possibility. As for example, in the past, we had done a lot of en-bloc resection for metastasis, and today en-bloc resection, it means surgery which is very aggressive. It requires 12 hours of surgery. Today, for a metastasis, it's really very difficult to accept as radiation therapy as a new technique, big progresses, big possibility to destroy the tumor. Target therapy is every day advancing, and there is a possibility by genomic study to find some site where we can attack the disruption that create the tumor. So I think that surgery will maybe not reduce in such a relevant way the number of surgery, but we will be less aggressive. It means that we must combine a less aggressive surgery together with a more aggressive radiotherapy and together with medical oncology. So in this perspective, we are studying new kind of fixation that is better compliant with radiotherapy. And we should every time discuss the indication in multidisciplinary group. And we should never take a decision only from a surgical point of view, but always compare our idea in a multidisciplinary group. So I say this to the surgeon, but I say this also to the medical oncologist and the radiation oncologist, as sometimes we see patients that had an excellent treatment by radiotherapy, but maybe they are paraplegic due to the fracture that the instability was not considered. So I think that we should really share the ability and each our possibility to treat the cases in order to find a decision which is decided altogether.
So we should accept that our role is changing. Maybe we are not becoming obsolete, but just we must interact with others.
The real world, but maybe is obsolete. The idea that only surgery is a solution in most of the case.
Mm-hmm.
So since we have 5 minutes more to end, let's engage a quick game in which we ask you a question and you reply with a quick and fast answer. What is your hobby? What is your hobby?
Scuba diving. I like to go deep in the sea and remain in the silent with the fishes.
Okay.
And which is your favorite book?
Very difficult. It's a very difficult question.
Yeah,
Maybe,
I know, but just one.
Can I say Pinocchio? Maybe.
Okay, cool.
That's it. And your favorite soccer team, if you have one?
Probably I know that.
Bologna.
I guess that. Probably.
Bologna. Bologna.
And the favorite surgery?
The surgery is bone oncology surgery. I think that the treatment tumor is very interesting, if I can say another word, and it's very similar to traumatology. So as well as it doesn't exist two fractures which are exactly the same, doesn't exist two tumors which are exactly the same. So I think that traumatology and bone tumors have something in common.
Talking about screws, pedicle screws, navigation or freehand?
I think that freehand is mandatory. Later on, maybe we can use also navigation is obviously is important, but I think that everybody who uses navigation should be fully able to put a pedicle screw even in C2 or in C1. Otherwise, if there is a blackout, it can be a problem.
Big problem.
That's true. Yeah. And other question, do you think open or missed surgery is better?
Well, it depends from the indication, but the future is for mini invasive. But we must achieve with minimum invasive what we can achieve with open. So MIS should be not a target, but a way to achieve a result.
And in one word, how there is a word that defines spine surgery in one word?
Maybe the most difficult and the most what create the most emotional problems to the surgeon.
Emotional. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Emotion. I'm not so well English. I don't know if the emotional is the right way, but should mean something that create a panic inside you if you don't. You know, you should be really able to take your emotion under a good cover. Otherwise, could be overwhelmed by the emotion itself.
okay, I like it.
So thank you so much for joining us today, and also for being a source of inspiration and motivation for young surgeons like us, and for all the people of AOSpine Youth Club.
If I have another word to be say, I think that passion should be the guide. Passion should be the guide, and see, this is such a difficult area, not only bone tumors, but also simple spine tumor, that passion should be the real leader in the mind of a young surgeon, as a passion can be really necessary for working well and to have a good life.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Boriani. It has been our true privilege.
Yeah. Thank you. It's a
Thank you very
privilege
much.
for me.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay.